All right, algebraic reasoning. Today we are doing a review. The review looks like this. We are going to have a test next class over this Unit 6 stuff. That's cubic graphs and quadratic graphs. Um, we didn't get to tables in time, but we do need to take this test. That way we can get our test in before the end of the 9 weeks. We only have less than 2 weeks left till the end of the 9 weeks, and spring break is here. So we need to get this test in. That way you have an opportunity to correct it if you need to before the end of the 9 weeks. So this is going to look very similar to your last quiz. So hopefully this test and the test review isn't too hard because it's going to be a lot of the same. Okay. So to do this though, we're going to need our calculator. Now let me remind you where that is. So if you're looking at whatever period you're in, you go to classwork. If you scroll down, 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 all the way down to materials, it should be the very first thing, graphing calculator Desmos. So if you click on that, okay, there we go. Sorry, it's really frustrating. Okay, and then you click desmos.com/calculator. That's what we're going to use for graphing. Okay, so I'm going to keep that down here. I'm going to open up the review. Now you'll have it on Go Formative, but you may need to have some paper to write some stuff down on. Definitely you'll need the graphing calculator website from Desmos. Okay, so let's answer this. Which equation best matches the graph to the right? Well, I can take these equations, graph them, and see which one matches. Okay, so negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. So f parentheses x parentheses equals negative x, and then for squared, I'm going to have to go down here to this little show keypad, and the a squared is how I get my squared. So the first one was, again, negative x squared minus 2x plus 3. Minus 2x plus 3. And now I just want to think, does that match? So look, the vertex is up here on the right of the axis, and then this vertex is to the left of the axis, so it is not the first answer choice. So it's not A. Back and right, there we go. All right, let's try B. Same thing, except it's these first two terms are positive, so let's just turn those positive real quick. See, that one opens upward, but our original one opens downward, so it can't be B. Let's try C. The only change now is that the 3 is negative. Let's try that. Still, it opens up, but it should be opening down, so process of elimination, it'll be letter D, but let's make sure we can see it. Negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. And there you go. So you see how the vertex is on the top right, that matches. So the best answer is letter D. All right. And then you can put that in Go Formative. The next question is what kind of graph is pictured from question number 1? So remember, if it looks like this or this, that's quadratic. Okay. Straight line is linear. And then the kind of snake looking one is cubic. Okay. And then quartic, we haven't talked about quartic yet, but a quartic can do like weird stuff like that. And remember, that's quartic, not quadratic. So, what type of graph is pictured to the right over here? Well, it's one of these U shapes, so it's going to be quadratic. Now, is the vertex a maximum or a minimum? Remember, max is at the top, and min is at the bottom. Okay, so since we have it up here, that's going to be a maximum. All right. Now, That graph is right here with all the numbers on it. So what is the vertex of the graph pictured for question? Undo that. There you go. What is the vertex of the graph? Well, the vertex is where it changes direction up here at the top, which is at 1, 4. So that's my answer. All right, next one, what is the y-intercept? So remember, y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So straight up and down, it crosses right there at 0, 3. And then it says, what is the x-intercept? So remember, the x-axis is from left to right. So if I'm looking at this, x-axis goes from left to right. It's either -1, 0 or 3, 0. And the answer is going to be A, because that is not 3, 0. That's -3, 0. Cool. All right, over here on number 7. Okay, once again, we need to be graphing. So again, I can check these answers against the graphs that I graph. So which equation matches the graph to the right? All right, let's type this in. X cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 1. All right, if I want x cubed, I hit x, and then remember down here, you show your keypad to get cubed. You're not going to press squared, you're going to press the one next to it. A to the b power. That moves your little blinking cursor up here, so you can type a 3, go to the right, now you're down here, right? So what is it? X cubed minus x squared. So minus x, and then squared, we can use that button again. Minus 2x plus 1, minus 2x plus 1. All right, so we just want to see if that matches. And I'm looking at those two, and they do match, okay? Now, when you graph all three of these, and compare, the only one that's going to compare is letter A, okay? We already saw that, but you do want to check out the rest of these and see how they aren't exactly the same. They do not match up correctly, okay? Now down here is the same picture just with all the numbers. So let's answer this question. What type of graph is pictured in up here? So remember this shape, like we said over here, is cubic. Okay, does this graph have a relative maximum, a relative minimum, or both? So remember, on a cubic, this is a relative max, a relative min. Remember, we say relative because it actually goes lower than that or higher than that at different points on the same graph. But you can see it has both, so that would be both, relative max and min. Okay. Now, what is the relative max? So I look at the highest point here, and I see my answer is B. For 11, remember y-intercept crosses the vertical y-axis. So I'm looking on my y-axis, it crosses right there, which is at 0, 1. All right, now we move on to the next page. The graph is here again. What is the x-intercept? Where does it cross this x-axis? So this is not an answer choice. This is not an answer choice, but this one is at 0.445, 0. Okay, and now we have a couple more questions. How do you know an equation is quadratic? So remember, we know a graph is quadratic like this if the highest power is squared. So that would be letter D. How do you know an equation is cubic? Oops. Remember, cubic looks like this. We know it's cubic if the highest power is 3 cubed. And then this is stuff that Miss Morero loves to teach about. The x-intercept is when the y is 0 and it's on the x-axis. The y-intercept is when x is 0 and it's on the y-axis. All right. And that's your test review, okay? So it's going to be kind of a short test. It's very similar to the last quiz we took. We just need to get a test grade in. So this should help your average if you prepare for it correctly. So this review is a grade. So I don't know how else to say this besides writing it up right here. This is a grade. And I'm telling you this because this should be an easy 100 grade if you're watching this video, because you should be able to follow this along, put in the answers into Go Formative, and then submit it. So it should be an easy 100, hopefully. Okay, so make sure you do this review, submit your answers, and then be ready for your test next class. All right.